I have a question for you today. Are you a spiritual procrastinator? By that, I mean, do you put off what you know God's asking you to do, or what you know is right to do, the right thing, the thing that inevitably has to happen for you to move forward in life, or for you to make things right with another person? Do you put off doing what is right to do? Really ask yourself that, because it's more of a big deal than we realize. Sometimes we can think, oh, I'll get around to it, and it's not that big of a deal, but to God, it might be a big deal. In James, it says, whoever knows what is right but doesn't do it is sinning. So that's kind of a big deal to God, when we know what we're supposed to do, when he reveals his plan to us, what he needs us to do, to step forward into a role, into a calling, or just something that doesn't even make sense to us, right? Sometimes we can be praying about one thing, we want God to open a door for us, but he asks us to do something else that's completely unrelated. He is listening. The purpose behind this is, it's covenant, right? We take care of his things, God's things, and he takes care of our things. So he might open that door, which is completely unrelated to the thing he's asking you to do, by you simply obeying him with childlike faith and not having to understand why it is he's asking you to do this thing. It's all about obedience when it comes to God's things, because his ways are higher than our ways, and there's so many things that we can't understand, right? So we might think the path is going to be this. It might look really straight to us. This is the way that it seems like it would naturally go, or even the way that it could only go, but God might take us a path that goes a different way than we can even see possible. So that's where our faith comes in and our obedience. We don't have to understand in order to obey what he's asking us to do. And there's another verse I want to read too, out of Proverbs chapter 3. And it says, do not say to your neighbor, go and come back, and tomorrow I will give it, when you have it with you. We back up to, it says, do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is in your power to do so. And the key thing here is, when we are able to do something now, in the moment, putting it off isn't gonna get us ahead. If we know our future, if we know what needs to happen, if we know what God wants us to do, just putting things aside, his things, that's a really big deal. So I encourage you to do good always, right? To not put it off, because that's not a good feeling. Whether it's with somebody else, something you need to do for them, whether it's something God's asking you to do personally. If you trust God, you know that his plan is better than we can even understand. And we don't have to understand. That's the good part. We don't have to understand how it's going to work out, but our job is to obey. In Isaiah, it says, the willing and obedient will eat the good of the land. So there are blessings tied to obedience. There are blessings God has for you. There's blessings that God has for me. But we will only step into it when we act out our faith in obedience, when we do what he's put on our hearts to do. That's how we will get to the good part. That's how we'll reach those blessings that he has ordained for us in this life. But it takes stepping into the unknown. Sometimes it takes doing what he says to do, even when we don't understand how that could be related at all to what we want. To what we want in our hearts, what we're asking him for. So I encourage you today to check your heart, spend some time with him, and see what it is he's asking you to do in this season. You probably will not see the whole picture. You will not see how this one thing is tied to the next, to the next, to the next. It's about taking one step, and then you'll get another, and you'll get another, and maybe you'll get 2 steps in a row. You never know. You never know what he'll show you by your obedience, by your humility. So I pray God blesses you, and I pray that this encourages you. And I thank you for watching.